Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Off that Pappy ringtone.
It's like one of those. Nah, ain't no two-cup shit.
Who said that?
Fuck two-cup. All right, there, 63rd.
I just want one cup. I just want one cup, folks.
2 cups. That shit straight out.
What you want, folks?
I ain't on that. I ain't on that.
What? No. Bank game.
Y'all better chill out over here.
Oh, bank. The biggest bees in here for bank.
Y'all already my love, baby. I think for sure what you better doing now. Get them put out. It's Big B for Big B too, but you know I already know. That gyro shit dead in here tonight. That gyro shit dead in here tonight.
I'm from the Renegade. We Renegade.
We crazy crew, baby. Big C.
Hey, didn't you say turn the music off, folks? No, don't listen, folks.
Jump out.
Don't listen, folks.
Welcome. I appreciate everybody. If you guys are triggered by any videos that I put out, I would advise you to watch it. So I've been going over the Kenneka Jenkins case. I gave my opinion in my last 2 videos of possibly who was the person who did it, and I'm gonna stick with the security guard, Nacho, allegedly. But I also feel like it has to do with the organ harvesting going on in Chicago and Detroit and a couple other cities. I feel like Kenneka Jenkins was set up by her friends so they can get her organs. And in that video, that live, you can tell that dude was pointing the camera at Kenneka Jenkins the whole time. But let me go ahead and get into a news clip. Here we go.
Human body parts shifting from Detroit to Chicago as the feds launch a new raid.
And once again, hundreds of families will be left wondering if the bodies of loved ones have been bought and sold on the black market.
7 Action News investigator Jim Kirchner is here tonight with a story you'll see only on 7 Jim.
Stephen and Carolyn, this case started here, according to sources, when a man named Arthur Rathburn was shipping human body parts through Metro Airport. Get this, the box leaked blood. Those cargo haulers then called for help. Why were you stockpiling hundreds of human body parts here, sir? That's Art Rathburn. And remember his business 13 months ago? For 2 days, federal investigators dressed in hazmat suits removed body parts of 1,000 different people. Arms, legs, heads cut up and kept on ice, not embalmed, so they would be fresh for the black market. Today, the rundown warehouse on Detroit's east side is shuttered and up for sale. Sources say Rathburn's seized records led them to the Chicago area today, a business called Biological Resource Center in Rosemont. It's difficult to see from the outside, but sources say the hazmat suits and raid are underway on the 6th floor of this office building. The same paper trail led investigators to Biological Resource Center in Phoenix last January, and another raid removing body parts and corpses. There were also ties to similar businesses in Las Vegas. Since these dealt directly with the public, families were left without answers. Julie donated her husband Steve's body and was promised his cremated remains back in a month.
Confused and angry. We thought this was going to be doing some good. Yet it doesn't sound like it is.
What do you say to all those families who had no idea their loved ones were in here? Michigan pulled Art Rathburn's license last year after our reporting, even though they were told about his problems 2 years before.
You can go find out what the heck he is doing, and that wasn't done. Right?
Did we do something 2 years ago? No, we didn't. Are we doing an investigation now? Yes, we are.
Are you worried about going to prison? Now, no one has been charged by the feds yet. There are actually 2 locations involved in this raid going on right now in the Chicago area. The offices in Rosemont and the lab in another suburb where they have found body parts. But my sources say this case is winding down, and with this new evidence in Chicago, they can now finish this case after some 13 months.
This is so gruesome. Any idea how many families you're talking about here with loved ones that may be involved?
It's going to depend a lot on the records. It depends if they're talking hundreds or thousands, and with those records that they seized, and are those records even up to date, or have they been doctored? That could be spelled out in an indictment once it's handed down.
You would not expect it necessarily to be accurate the way it's been handled so far. It could be very.
I feel so strongly that this was the possible case. In that video, you see that young man with the camera. They found a kind of tranquilizer or a anti-seizure drug in her system. Illegal activities. I'm going to tell y'all, the National Organ Transplant Act of 1984 makes it illegal to buy or sell human organs and tissues in the United States, punishable by fines and imprisonment. They had a thing called body brokering scandals. There have been incidents in Chicago involving individuals and companies that acquire bodies for anatomical research and education, but instead sold body parts on the black market for profit. One such case involved the Non-Shattered Biological Research Center of Illinois, where father and son were charged with wire fraud and concealing a crime related to selling the diseased body parts. Families who have donated their loved ones' bodies, believing they will be used for a greater good, were deeply impacted by these revelations. This prompted the creation of an Illinois state task force to investigate the unregulated practice of body brokering and purposes new regulations. Organ trafficking. Globally, there is a black market for organs driven by the high demand limited by legal supply. I feel like this was possible in this case. They said if you go back and kind of research this case, a lot of these women, her friends, were flashing money, I want to say 1 to 2 months after Kenneka was found in that freezer. They just happened to come up big for something. Was it to lure Kenneka Jenkins into that party that night? Who allows their friends to roam a hotel for an hour and 30 minutes? That's where we are getting confused in this case, that we believe Kenneka Jenkins was only roaming a hotel for like 15 to 20 minutes. She was roaming that hotel for an hour and 30 minutes. And I know I said something about the video editing tape, and it's possible. You can edit videos. Somebody could have been directing Kenneka Jenkins down to that kitchen. That kitchen was not in use. That kitchen should have been boarded up. Nothing should have been on besides the lights. That freezer should not have been in use. We look at it as if this young lady was able to navigate through that hotel for an hour and 30 minutes and wound up in a freaking kitchen that has not been in use. It was due for renovations. Has not been in use. They said Kenneka Jenkins didn't drink a lot. She wasn't a smoker. She didn't do illicit drugs. That she is a primary candidate for having good organs, if I'm saying it right. And if you're a nurse, leave a comment, let me know. It's sad because, I think we're overlooking a lot of things in this case, and we're giving her friends a lot of leeway. It doesn't take two people to go back in the room to get her keys and her cell phone. It doesn't. I mean, is it crazy that it might be in front of our face when we're watching these videos that the camera was pointing on Kenneka? Kenneka seemed to be the prime person at the party, or a prime candidate for organ donating. If you go back to some of these other YouTube channels and they kind of break it down, that you see suspicious people walking through the hotel with suitcases. The coroner, the guy that picked up Kenneka Jenkins' body out the freezer. They think he was part of an organ black market trade. I mean, there's a lot of things that don't make this case right. And I keep going back and forth with the suspects, because I do feel like Nacho, the security guard, did lower her down into the kitchen. I feel like she was set up from the beginning. I really do. And I know a lot of people think that same way, but Chicago and Detroit are known nationally for taking people's organs. When that manager of the hotel went into that downstairs kitchen, he had to unlock that freezer door. That freezer door was locked. You see him with the keys walking back in his hand. How does somebody walk into a freezer and physically lock themselves in with a lock? It's like we're overlooking this stuff. And in some articles, you know, I put it up here. You can read them. You can pause the video and read them. But they're known for doing things like that. Because African American or black people, you know, we tend to have, I don't want to say we have the best organs, but, you know, it's just like, it's something about our genes, our makeup that everybody wants. The vast majority of organ donations and transplants in Chicago and across the United States are ethically conducted and save thousands of lives each year, which I agree with. The illegal activities described above represent a dark side of the industry that authorities are working to combat. Illinois has an organ tissue donor registry which individuals can legally express their wish to donate organs upon their death. So when we look at the I'm not gonna say the lady singer because I don't want to get sued. I don't have any money to give to anybody, but the lady singer that we all said, well, she was waiting on the transplant and she made a video about somebody walking into the freezer. You know, I don't know. All of a sudden she was able to get some organs, and they said that they actually, you know, the lady who donated their organs came forward, but you know, they can tell us anything. And that's why I be wary when I make videos like this, because, you know, now you're going after some people who have money and they got power. But there was another actor who needed organs too. And it's crazy that as soon as Kenneka, you know, passed away, that they were able to get their transplants. And I'm not saying Kenneka Jenkins is the one that, or they took Kenneka Jenkins' organs, but I mean, y'all got to see, you know, read between the red lines on this. It just seems fishy. It seems weird and fishy. I believe the friends did set her up. I think that whole hotel party, whatever, was for her to have her organs taken. When I said her drink was spiked and she said, what is that? You didn't see any of those other girls taste that drink. You can go back in the video, go back in the beginning of the video. You didn't, you know, when she said that, that girl just held that drink and put it next to the bed. Sad and crazy. I'm going to read an article. It's Chicago CBS. Selling body parts to the highest bidder is a gruesome, unregulated practice we first exposed in 2019. At CBS, Tierra Molina has reported families unknowingly thought they were donating their loved one's body for medical research, only to find out they were dissected and sold off. Now, as a result of this report, a new Illinois state task force met for the first time today. Their goal is to look at how other states regulate the sale of body parts and come up with a set of rules and regulations for the industry. In a news release, Illinois State Representative Dan Brady reported at the meeting Tuesday the non-transplant organ donation task force heard emotional testimony from people who have seen loved ones' body parts sold off. I appreciate the courage it took for families today to tell us that their difficult stories that range from dissection procedures they hadn't been made aware of what happened, to actually selling off their loved ones' organs on the black market. Republican Brady is licensed funeral home director and a former McLean County coroner said in the release, there's no question that full body donation is invaluable to continue medical advancement, but families' memories and dignity must not be sacrificed in the process. That says it all right there. But this is part one of my thinking that Kenneka Jenkins was set up and they wanted her organs. So leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I love you all. Be easy. And I will see y'all in the next video. I'm out.